Hi, thanks for watching. Andy over here. Let's talk about the solar eclipse in Capricorn. It's going to be on the 25th and 26th of December 2019. So it really is a powerfully Christmas thing. 9:17 in the evening Pacific on Christmas evening on the 25th. Midnight 17 on the east side of the States and Canada, and 5:17 a.m. here in UK, both of those on Boxing Day, the 26th of December. And, well, you know, our whole lives have been leading towards this moment, have they not? That's the nature of this thing. But I'm seeing this as astrologically the real run-up to 2020 and everything that goes with that. All the planets at the moment are direct, except for Uranus, which goes direct. I think it's about the 10th of January, I think. Haven't got that in front of me, naughty, naughty. But never mind, eclipse in Capricorn. It's going to be in 4 degrees of Capricorn. And it's a powerful thing, you know. It's a real important time to be setting our intentions for next year. So let's have a look at where it's going to appear. We won't see much of it in the Northern Hemisphere, I'll say that. But it will certainly be visible in, I've got a list here. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Oman, India, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, Northern Mariana Islands and Guam. So, you know, a lot of the world is actually going to see this, but even though we don't see it, we are bound to feel it. The whole solar system at this time is moving from a part of the universe where it's been pretty much for all of our lives, where it's sort of held in a magnetically safe kind of area. Doesn't feel very safe, does it? Hasn't felt very safe for a long time, but it has been comparatively safe, and now we really are moving into the unknown, the whole solar system, not just the Earth. But consciousness is increasing, and I've been very aware of that for quite a few years now. Certainly anybody who follows anything mystical or spiritual will have noticed that more and more people are becoming aware, and that's such a positive thing, is it not? So there's a big new moon coming in at the same time as this solar eclipse. They very much go together, and it's worth checking your own birth chart to see how where Capricorn is in your birth chart, actually, and how this eclipse is actually going to play into it, because it's happening very close to the south node, and this means more than anything, I suppose, that the abuse of the poor and the abuse actually of just, well, power generally speaking is going to be on the decline. No doubt there'll be some sort of dying kicks as the powerful people of this world try to hang on to what they regard as being theirs, but they've got no chance going forward. Things really are changing, and it's a good time for all of us actually to be thinking about how power has been used, how people have used their power around us, and how we actually use our own power, how we see that, because it's going to change whatever happens. So it's really worth thinking about it and taking a practical responsibility for that. It's going to be a feature of the journey that we're going on at the moment. So think, you know, what is the theme of Capricorn in your chart? This means a lot in the UK because UK is a Capricorn country, for one thing. But Cancer is active in this as well, so the United States are very much tied up too. And it's a pivot point, you know. It's not something where we're kind of going to think, well, shall we go this way, shall we go that way? It's a pivot point. The whole thing is going to change. So well, we've got seven planets in Capricorn at the present time, and so that means sort of Earth energy is really at the fore. That has a lot to do with money, of course, just because really more than anything we're a very money-orientated society at the moment. But food shortages, and generally food is going to be in focus, astrologically speaking, which is great because it's very much in focus sort of in the everyday real 24/7 world. The nuts and bolts of the world we live in have a great deal of interest around food at the present time, do they not? There are shortages in many places, actually shortages in most places when you come to think about it, of real, actual, genuine food, because even where we've got plenty to eat, even where we're very well supplied, it's actually not the best food that we can get, and there are all kinds of moves to introduce introduce new ways of making foods, which are going to seem a bit Frankensteinish to us, and I think already do in many cases. But that's the nature of the change of things, is we're going to be looking very carefully at that. And, even people who aren't into astrology or anything spiritual at all are going to find themselves looking into that. It's basically the collapse of the old order, which is what we're looking at in 2020. And, the first time this many planets were in Capricorn, sort of the last time I should say that this many planets were in Capricorn was 1285. And there was an abuse of power theme then. In those days, it was much more to do with the churches and the monasteries and the way the Christian traditions were being used to control people in a way which I'm sure Christ himself would never have tried to control people, but the church certainly was. And first time that Saturn and Pluto are conjunct in Capricorn since 1517 as well. So we really are looking at big changes, but that's going forward into 2020. What's actually happening at the present time is that the veil is really, really thinning out, because when we get to the winter solstice on the 21st of December, which is very, very close at this moment, the veil becomes thin. It always does at solstices and equinoxes, and that's why they're seen as such magical times, because spiritual communication is said to become a lot easier, and it's been proven to become a lot easier actually over the century, well, the thousands of years actually, that people have been trying to communicate with the other side. So the cosmic guidance is very strongly in there and is likely to be a very big help with that. It's an expansive time, it's a forward-looking time, and it's a time when freedoms of all kinds come into focus, and the world is very kind of tightly controlled at the moment in so many ways. And, if I wasn't looking at astrology, I would almost think that was hopeless, because there doesn't seem like there's anything likely to change in the actual news of watching the news on TV or reading a newspaper. If you still do that, it's all pretty gloomy. But really, looking at astrology, change is just going to happen. There's no stopping it. The universe is so much bigger than any of what we call the powers that be. But the bottom line of all of this, though, is that we are going to have to sort of make the leap, take the leap. I think we're going to be put in positions where we can't really avoid it, but it's still, for everyone concerned in this, is going to be a matter of deciding, yes, I want to do this positive thing, whatever it is. So it's worth thinking about, and I'm urging you again to look into your birth chart. No astrologer can sort of give out a message to absolutely everyone in the world about what this is going to mean to them. It totally depends on what's happening in your birth chart, and you can get them from just about any astrology website that there is out there, actually. They're all doing it now, and it's not, it sounds a bit impersonal not to tell you to go to an astrologer for it in person, but your birth chart is a statistical thing. Nothing can change it. If you go to one astrologer and get your birth chart done, and then go to another astrologer and get your birth chart done, if they're any good, they're going to say the same thing. So don't worry about getting that from the internet, but do take a look at it, guys, and take a look at where Capricorn is. That is really an important thing to do, because in terms of taking that leap forward, it's really important to have an understanding of where we stand with everything, because really, the universe is changing, and we are co-creators with the universe. Spiritual people, including me, are always saying we create our own reality, and so we're going to be doing that in a much more intense way going forward. Okay, that's a fairly brief look at the solar eclipse in Capricorn. It's going to be in 4 degrees and 6 minutes of Capricorn on the 25th or the 26th of December, depending where you are in the world. And if you're in the southern hemisphere at that time, you really should be able to see it. It's going to be an annular ring. The moon itself is going to appear to be about 6% smaller than the sun. So there is going to be like 3% on each side, ring going around the sun, and it should be a really spectacular thing to see. I'm very much in the northern hemisphere. It's going to be pitch dark early morning on the 26th when that actually happens, so I'm looking forward to looking on the internet and seeing what images and videos people post. but it's going to be spectacular. It's going to be fantastic, and big changes really are going to be coming into play. I think we'll actually see some of them starting perhaps in the next few days, because it's very close now. Okay, thanks very much for watching, guys. Have a fantastic eclipse wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you again really soon. Be good to each other, and peace.